Happy Friday, everybody. It's the 815 Sports Podcast back again today. Me and Jake are going to talk today about the Bulls beating the Bucks. I think that was Wednesday night in overtime. Our Week 17 picks and Tua's future should he continue playing in the NFL. To start it off, we'll start off with the Bulls beating the Bucks. Very exciting game. I didn't get to watch most of it. I saw some highlights on Twitter and Instagram. Jake, as normally he does, he watched the entire game. Not surprised. Giannis had 45 points.
Yeah, Giannis was incredible.
22 rebounds, 7 assists. Brook Lopez added 14. Bobby Portis had 20 off the bench, ex-Bull. And then we had DeRozan with 42, Vucevic with 15, and Levine with 24. And then Io had that dunk at the end of regulation where I think DeMar tipped it, right?
Yeah,
which caused the steal. But I'll let you take it from there, Jake.
Well, I think this was probably my favorite Bulls game of the year so far because they looked like they were out of it. And in today's NBA, you're really never out of a game because it's just kind of a three-point shooting match anymore.
Yeah.
So the Bulls started hitting some threes, and they got closer, and I started paying attention more, and then DeRozan got the steal. So if the Bucks just inbound the ball, right, they just got to inbound it. And if they make one free throw, they're up 3, or if they make 2, the game's over. Well, they don't even inbound the ball, and DeRozan tipped it to Io, and then he was nobody. It was a wide open
Giannis almost caught up to him.
And Giannis did almost catch up to him, but he was able to slam it home one-handed. Some think it was a foul. I'd have to really look at it. Some think he got him on the hand when he dunked it, which would have given the Bulls the lead by 1, but they didn't call it. He tied it. Then Giannis shot a tough shot with like 6 seconds left, but it wouldn't have counted because they ultimately called a travel. So then it was the Bulls' ball. And then the Bulls struggled to sometimes get the ball in bounds late in games, which they did with the 2 seconds left. It hit off DeMar's knee and then rolled up the court. We didn't even get a shot. So the game went to overtime, and then the Bulls didn't kind of play well till about the 2-minute mark. Vucevic hit a 3, DeRozan hit a jump shot. But they played really good defense, and they made it hard on Giannis. And Giannis had 5 fouls for like the last half of the fourth quarter in overtime, which I think kind of made him change how he played because he couldn't really play that hard because if he got another foul, he would have been fouled out. But it was just a big win because the Bulls are now 7-1 versus the top 4 teams in the East. 7-1, but they seem to not be able to beat the teams that have 5 or 6
that
wins.
They should beat.
Like the Houston Rockets, but that's just how sports are. I don't know why. I think they get up to play these teams, but they have won 4 out of their last 5. 4 out of their last 5, so they're playing better. They play tonight versus the Pistons. You would think they would win, but then they got a quick turnaround and they play Cleveland tomorrow, and Cleveland's good. So if they can just go 1-1, that would be okay, but.
Yeah, it would be okay. But
with how they're playing, they could win both of them. They're both at home.
But they did lay an egg, was it last week against like the Rockets, you said?
That was Monday. That was Monday. They laid an egg Monday night versus the Rockets. Yeah.
Levine said they didn't come out and play to their competition like they should have. And one thing about that inbounds pass where DeRozan stole it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he said that the coaches, they already knew the play.
So the Bulls knew the play before Milwaukee did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they play each other 4 times a year. It's kind of becoming the Bulls' rival, I think, a little bit because they played them in the playoffs last year, and Grayson Allen almost killed Alex Caruso.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're a Dookie, but Grayson Allen.
No, I don't like Grayson Allen.
He's just a dirty player.
Grayson Allen's dirty, and everything about him. A lot of Milwaukee fans are saying that he got fouled and pushed into him, but if you really watch it, Patrick Williams does foul him. But I don't know that he fouled him enough to make him go 5 feet into DeMar.
No, he flopped.
And he hit him in the back, which he wasn't paying attention, so he jolted him, and then it was kind of a dirty play. And Stacey King, who's a former Bull, you got to listen to him. You got to listen to the call.
Yeah, I heard him. He telling me he's going to get a
just goes
two-piece.
off. And he said someone needs to two-piece him. And Stacy needs to realize this isn't the 80s anymore, but he's right.
Well, did you see that Mo Wagner got knocked out in the middle of the game?
Some vicious stuff's happened this past couple days in the NBA.
Yeah.
But the Bulls are playing well. They got to play together. Defensively, they got to play together because we all know they can score. They've got the players that can score, but they don't play together defensively. And that's when, like, you see teams putting up 130, 140 on the Bulls, and you're just not going to score that much all the time because that's a lot. So they got to play together defensively, and when they do, and people don't talk about it enough, but Zach LaVine this year has been a really good on-ball defender. He's been really good, like, on ball, but it's when they get caught switching, and then the Bulls switch everything. And Vucevic is softer than Charmin tissue. He is soft. I don't know what I like when Drummond's out there late in games because you know you're going to get a defensive effort. Vucevic just isn't it. But I get why he's got to be out there because he can score. But it's just tough watching him play defense. But when they play defense as a whole, I mean they're 7-1 versus the best teams. I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But they got to start beating the teams they should beat, and they got to start stringing wins together like they've done. Because they're right there in the middle for the 6th.
Well, they can make the playoffs because 10 teams
get
a chance now.
So they just need to they got to get going.
Yeah.
More than just 1 or 2 games. Like they got to get it and stay hot.
And maybe that'll happen, but
it was exciting. That was a very exciting game.
Yeah. Hopefully it continues for the Bulls. We'll go into our picks now for this week in the NFL. Started off, we got Arizona and Atlanta. You got Trace McSorley, former quarterback on one of those Netflix shows. I can't remember what it's called. And then at Atlanta,
Matt
Ryan is on the Colts. They got
who's Atlanta?
They got Atlanta. They got Desmond Ritter back there, quarterback.
Well, I don't even know who that is, but
yeah, we went over that before. He played quarterback at Cincinnati, but I got Arizona in this game. I'm picking a bunch of random games this week because I'm trying to catch up to Jake. I'm 5 games behind him. But I got Arizona.
Is Atlanta 6-9? They still can win the division.
Atlanta's 5-9.
Oh, so they can't win the division.
No, they're still mathematically in it, I believe.
I thought that whole division was almost tied.
They're 5-10.
Oh, so that's the Saints and
and then you
isn't
got
there
the spread
3 teams that are?
Well, if the Carolina wins against the Bucks.
Oh, there it is.
If Carolina wins against the Bucks, they can still get in. So
yeah, I'm gonna take Atlanta.
Okay.
I don't know why, just because they're home.
Okay. Up next, we got Chicago at Detroit. The first time these teams played, it was 31-30, I think, pretty high scoring game. And both these teams can score offensively. The Bears have found a few ways to lose games this year, so I'm going with Detroit.
Yeah, but Detroit got beat up last weekend versus Carolina. But I think they're a better team, and I think they're obviously fighting for their playoff lives. And Dan Campbell will have these guys ready. I think they'll beat the Bears.
Yeah, I mean they need this game.
I got Detroit. Yeah, they got to have this game.
If they lose, then playing against the Packers really doesn't matter next week.
So they're 7-8 too.
Yeah.
Okay. 7-8.
We got Broncos country. Let's ride against Kansas City Chiefs.
This will be a nice game.
I got Kansas City in a rout, but I don't know. Have you seen all the players coming to Russ's defense after a Barstool article?
Oh, so now they like him?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really knows. We're not inside the locker room. We're inside that organization, but it didn't look like – it just looks like there's been so much turmoil on that.
Yeah, and they just fired their head coach, which I'm not surprised by. I mean, you could kind of tell week 1 that he wasn't really fit to be an NFL head coach. And I think I would say a lot of the reason they hired him is because they thought maybe if you hired him, you had a chance to lure Rodgers. And it didn't work out that way, so they just moved on.
Well, I got Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't even. Yeah, that's probably gonna. This might be the blowout of the week.
Could be. Up next, we got your Miami Dolphins against
Yeah.
New England.
Yay.
Obviously, Tua's not playing. I would assume he honestly doesn't play the rest of the year. Against New England and Mac Jones and the terrible offense that they have.
They won't be terrible Sunday.
Yeah, it might not be, but I'm going to go with New England in this game. Miami doesn't have Tua. Their defense doesn't impress me. I think New England finds a way to win it at home.
I'm going to take the Dolphins just because they need to win to get in. Well, they don't. Well, they kind of need to win to get in. I don't know if they're out mathematically if they lose. I don't think they are.
No, they're not. They're still in.
I think it really comes down to how they do versus the Jets. I think it's a win and they're in. They can clinch this weekend, which is baffling. But if they win and the Jets lose, they clinch. So week 18, would it mean nothing? That'd be nice to watch a meaningless game because it don't happen often. But I'm going to take the Dolphins. I just think with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think they still have enough to win versus really a lot of team. I mean, if Teddy doesn't try to do too much, if Teddy just gets the ball out and makes smart plays and the Dolphins run the ball efficiently, I think they're better than New England weapon-wise. If it would help if they get a takeaway on defense, which their defense is kind of a up and down defense. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I don't know. I don't know why.
I think it's important for McDaniel to have a game plan that is mainly running the ball and a lot less deep shots because I don't think Teddy's that great of a deep thrower.
Well, and the thing is they don't even need to get the ball. Like, just let Jalen Waddle do, just get it to him. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at what he did last week. He just threw a 15-yard slant, and then he took it to the house. Like, just get him the ball out in space.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to probably take a deep shot or two tomorrow, Sunday. But it's just another Dolphin season. I don't know. It's just another Dolphin season that
it's probably
started out great, and now it's in the dump.
Yeah. Sorry that happens to you each year, Jake.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Up next, we got the Colts, who have really fallen apart this year. Probably are going to trade for Derek Carr in the offseason. At the New York Giants. I got New York in this game. They need this game. If they win, they're in. If they lose this game, they lose next week. They're out of the playoffs completely. So it's very important that they win this game.
I got the football Giants, the New York football Giants in this game. I just don't. The Colts blew a 33-0 lead. I mean, they're just trash. I don't even know how you do that. I'll take the football Giants.
All right. Up next, we got Philadelphia at the Eagles. Philadelphia is at home, and they're playing against New Orleans. I got Philadelphia in this game. Hurts is not playing. But either way, the Eagles are a better team than New Orleans. So I don't see why the Eagles would lose this game, especially after the way they played Dallas last week. And they should have won that game too. But I don't know how you give up. I don't know how you give up a 3rd and 30. But
you just throw it deep and have the prayer got answered.
Yeah.
I got Philadelphia as well. They're better. But New Orleans is still playing for the division or no?
No, not the division, but I think they need some crazy things to happen.
Yeah, okay, I'll take Philadelphia then.
Carolina at Tampa. I got Tom Brady in this game. Yeah, it's very important. If Carolina wins, they control their own destiny. If Tampa wins this game, they're in. It's important for both teams. I don't think either of these teams are really that impressive. I
think Tampa Bay could be, though. I don't know why they aren't. I mean, you look around their roster, and you're like, I wouldn't want to play this team.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know. I just think Brady's done.
I don't know. I don't disagree, but then he has that game where versus the Saints, where he looked like Tom Brady of old, just right down the field when they needed it. Had no business in that game right down the field. They scored 2 touchdowns in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
If he gets hot, but this is a big game. And I got Tampa Bay too.
I got Tampa as well. I think Tom knows. I mean, they obviously know they need this game. And I don't see Tom losing this game, knowing that this could be potentially his last chance. at the Super Bowl, but I honestly think he's going to play again next year.
We've just been waiting all year for like Tampa Bay to break out.
Yeah, and they just haven't done it.
They win games like low scoring.
Yeah. Very low scoring. I think they're one of the lowest scoring offenses in the league. The Broncos. We got Cleveland at Washington. So Washington, they really need to win this game. But I like the Browns. I think they have a lot of talent. They just haven't been able to put it together over the years.
They're like Tampa. Got a lot of talent. They don't know what's going on there.
And then Washington starting Carson Wentz this week. So I'm picking Cleveland, and I'm hoping that Cleveland wins for the Packers' sake.
So you got the Browns. I'm going to take the Washington Commanders.
Got
it right this time. Not the football team, the Commanders.
I actually like the football team better when they were just the Washington football team. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I'm gonna take them. I think they're gonna play hard, and because they know they need it, and I just think Cleveland will fold. I mean, Watson ain't been playing well, which everyone kind of assumed.
Yeah, you take 2 years off.
But like you said, they really need this game. So right now, do they have the 7th seed?
Yep.
Okay, and then so that would mean that the Giants have the 6.
Yeah.
So who's got the 5?
Dallas.
Okay.
And Dallas is staying put. So, let's see. Up next, we got Jacksonville at the Texans. So, the Texans have been playing really well as of late, but so have the Jaguars. But, as we saw...
Jacksonville's going to win that division, aren't they?
Yeah. As we saw last night, and this goes for the Jaguars too, but in that Cowboys-Titans game, Tennessee could just rest their play. Like, the game didn't matter last night. It was almost like it didn't need to be played, really, for either teams. Maybe
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
So,
but with that being said, like, the Jaguars really don't need this game either because it all comes down to who wins next week's game between the two teams.
So but what if Jacksonville wins tomorrow?
It doesn't matter.
They don't clinch?
No, they still have to beat Tennessee in the last week.
Where's it at?
I think it's at Jacksonville.
Oh boy. 2 very important games in the state of Florida next weekend. Winning, you're in.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think
Where's Tampa Bay play next week?
I don't know.
Up and down the board, it could be all 3 Florida teams winning, they're in. Yeah, that's crazy.
Could be.
Well, let's hope the Dolphins just take care of business Sunday and get some help from Seattle. So I got Jacksonville. You got Jacksonville.
Yeah, I got Jacksonville. Go ahead.
Well, Houston just kind of surprises you. I mean, they play with Kansas City all the way up to the last second. They played pretty good with Philly.
Beat the Titans last week.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I'll take Jacksonville.
Yeah,
they have to have it.
I will too, and I think we're starting to see Trevor Lawrence become the quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's good.
I
think Trevor Lawrence is good. I would want him. He can do it all. I mean, he obviously has to get better at decision making, but I think you could say that for every quarterback. Like, it's a very hard position, and you're going to make some bad decisions.
And it comes with time, and you can see the dramatic improvement.
He's
from
good.
Last year. So both got Jacksonville in that game. Next, we got the 49ers at Vegas. I'm sure everybody knows Vegas bench Derek Carr. Yep. I'm interested to see how that plays out because that's obviously a huge reason why Devontae Adams went there. And I love Devontae. I never really agreed with the Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer comment. And here we have another bit of evidence as to why that would be false. But I got the 49ers in this game. They're a lot better, in my opinion, everywhere on the field. Defense, special teams.
Now without Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a pretty bad game. I got the Niners.
In one thing about Derek Carr, I've always thought that he was a good guy, and B, he's not a superstar quarterback by any means.
Kind of reminds me of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I think
he's
he's a good enough quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I look, if Tua don't play next year and the Dolphins go after Derek Carr, I mean it's not it's not who I want, but it wouldn't be like you don't have someone that doesn't have experience. Like he's got experience. He's shown you what he can be.
Yeah.
I just don't think he can do it consistently.
Yeah, he's not consistent. But he's also, I seen his stat yesterday since he came in the league. His defense has forced the fewest turnovers in the NFL.
He's getting no help. I mean, he's always got to put up. They've always got to score, but overcome it.
Yeah.
And he obviously can't sometimes.
We both got the Niners in that one. Up next, we got Jets at Seattle. Very important game for both of these teams, actually, as they can both still make the playoffs.
Yeah, and this game affects like the Dolphins game too. So like this is a very important game for like if you like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Because if the Dolphins win and they lose, we're in week 18 don't mean nothing, which we play the Jets in week 18, so that would be nice.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to think is what if the Dolphins lose? Well, yeah, if the Dolphins lose and the Jets lose,
then it probably goes on one more week, I would imagine.
Yeah, but then it would be win and you're in, whoever wins. But what if we lose and the Jets win? Then we're tied. So it would be win and you're in, I think.
I don't know.
That's what I got to look up. I got to look up if the Dolphins lose Sunday and the Jets happen to win. Because then we would have the same record at 8-8, but they would have the head-to-head. They beat us. But then in week 18, if we beat them, we'd have the head-to-head. But then that means we'd be 1-1 versus each other. So then it would come down to conference record, and I don't know the conference records. See, that's what I mean. I don't know the conference records. I think. Can you pull it up? Do you have the divisions, the standings? So the Dolphins' conference record is 6-4. That ain't bad. So they're 5-6. So we would, if we lose, we'd be 6-5. That's a conference team. If they would stay the same because Seattle's not in their conference. So we'd be 6-5. We would be in. We would be in over them because we'd have a better conference record. Even though, because we'd be 1-1 versus each other, but then after that, head-to-head, it goes to conference.
The Jets got Mike White back playing in this game. I think Zach Wilson's probably done in the NFL, but you never know. Still young, still could go somewhere else. But I got Seattle. They're at home. Geno Smith has played, not bad this year.
Up and down.
Yeah. Pete Carroll and Kenneth
I trust
Walker.
Pete Carroll.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to hope so.
Yeah.
Because you need it.
Well, it's going to be a big 6 hours on Sunday.
Yeah. So
we both got Seattle.
Yep. Up next, huge game in Green Bay between Minnesota and Green Bay. Green Bay's favored in this one.
What's that spread?
I think it's 3.5.
Damn. I don't think I think that's fair because every time Minnesota's favored, they lay an egg. The 3.5.
Packers by 3.
I think that stays too.
Bakhtiari practiced today. Watson and Nixon have yet to practice this week, but I think they're both going to play this weekend.
They're probably just game time decisions, which they'll play.
Yeah, I think they're both going to play this week, and we need them. Nixon, he didn't start returning kicks until like 6 weeks ago, and he's already number 1 in the league in kickoff return yards. So he's doing a great job. And one thing I didn't like, I do have Green Bay winning in this game because we need it. One thing I didn't like was I love Jair and I love, his post-game interviews and pre-game interviews and stuff like that. But I didn't think it was a good idea to say that Justin Jefferson's week 1 game was a fluke because Jefferson is amazing. And our defensive coordinator really doesn't know how to utilize our defense in certain situations. So I think it's important.
You just don't want to add fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's kind of what he did, which, I mean, you kind of do like the jive talking back and forth.
Yeah.
But sometimes it makes one player go to another level.
Yeah, elevate
and then
his
if
game.
you don't. But didn't you say earlier in the year the Packers special teams was kind of bad?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that wasn't the case last week.
No, besides that fake punt, I mean, they played pretty well.
Well, the special teams kind of won them, kind of gave them the ball at like the 8-yard line, which only led to a field goal.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the Dolphins did on another time. They like squibbed it. Well, they squibbed it to the 50-yard line. So there you go. You give them. They don't even got to do nothing. And both times the defense already had to come out and they were going to score.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that was. And then another kickoff, they returned to the Dolphin special teams is awful. That was an awful.
I'm glad that it's not my team anymore because I'll tell you what, the Packers special teams cost them a chance last year.
Which I'm not. I don't know. It didn't cost. I mean, it didn't help, but.
Well, personally, I think Tua threw those picks. Now looking back at it, because he was concussed.
Well, Raheem, how you say his last name? Raheem whatever.
Mostert.
The running back from the Dolphins said in the huddle. Said in the huddle that he sometimes questioned himself what Tua was saying. Like,
yeah,
something came out after the game, and that's what he said. Like, Tua would say something, and it kind of didn't make sense.
Yeah,
but you just go with it because he's quarterback. But.
Well,
nobody's seen it. The spotters, the team, the coach, nobody's seen it.
Well, that's happened a few weeks now. I don't know if you saw Devontae Parker.
Like, if you're going to have a spotter out there.
Yeah.
Which Teddy Two Gloves would have came in and probably would have thrown 3 picks too, so it wouldn't have mattered. But.
Well, it was obviously affecting his reads, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, yeah, what I was saying about Jair, he did say that Jefferson was a top 3 receiver. He also put Waddle in there. And he's got Devontae at number 1. But I think Rodgers is going to continue playing his best ball, especially now that he has a chip on his shoulder and he thinks he's, the underdog and everybody's against him. I just think they're going to come out and play really good, and I think A.J. Dillon's going to have a big game. Why don't they
flex that? They should flex that to Sunday night. I'm surprised they haven't.
Well, it's probably like Fox's game of the week.
Well, who wants to watch Pittsburgh and Baltimore?
Well, I don't know, but Lamar's not even playing, but
I'm very surprised they've had all week to flex that. I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah. They haven't put a time on the game next week between us and Detroit, so that might get flexed next week, depending on what happens this week.
Yeah.
But we both got Green Bay in this one. Jake, you got anything else you want to add?
The only thing that concerns me is I don't want if this game becomes a touchdown for touchdown, you just have to hope that Rodgers can keep it going because, I mean, obviously Minnesota has Dalvin Cook. I mean, and I know the Packers have great running backs too, but, I mean, they're one of the most highest scoring offenses in the league.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to become a shootout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You kind of want it to be like in the 20s because I think the Packers win. That's why I'm picking them.
I think it's important for Green Bay to get after
I think
Kirk.
They're hot, and I think Minnesota has played – I mean, they've won 10 one-score games or 11 in the league. So they're not blowing nobody out. They're not going to come in and blow you out. But what they are going to do is they're going to come in, they're going to score.
Yeah.
And then that's going to have to elevate Rodgers. And I think he does elevate, and I think he does score. But if it gets into the 30s,
Oh, I'd imagine it's going to get in the 30s. It's going to be a warm day in Green Bay.
What's the temperature?
It's going to be around 35.
Wow.
It's pretty warm, actually. With all the stuff that's gone on lately, I walked outside the other day.
Yesterday was awesome.
It felt like a damn heat wave. I had to take my jacket off.
So I think we're both going to take the Packers.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that one. It should be a good game. Up next, we got the Rams at the Chargers. Baker, huge win on Nickelodeon the other day. He won the Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player of the game. They won like 51.
Does he get a
17.
trophy for that?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, jeez.
And slime and stuff, but it's cool. I always like to see him do well. But I got the Chargers in this one. They're a better team.
They're hot. They've gotten hot.
Yeah,
and they're going to be a team you do not. I would not want to play them.
Yeah, they got a good quarterback. They got some good wide receivers. They got a good running back. They got some studs on defense. They're a team to be reckoned with.
So they're the 6th seed.
Yeah,
and the Dolphins are the 7th seed. So that means the Chargers would play the Chiefs and we'd play the Bills.
I don't think the Chiefs want to see
the Chargers. That'll be the 3rd time they see them, and that'll be the 3rd time the Dolphins see the Bills. If it stays that way, I don't know about Tua. Some think that he might be able to come back and play in the playoff game. He might even be able to play the Jets.
I'd be done for the year if I was him. But like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute.
But I just playing a team the 3rd time,
It's hard to beat somebody three
Well,
times.
you kind of get to know what they call and they play, and then if your defense makes a play, and obviously Herbert's going to keep them in it because they can score. They got some good weapons. You could see some upsets in the AFC.
Yeah, I can't wait for the playoffs. It's awesome. The NFL does a great job with everything, and this is actually a home game for both of these teams.
Yeah.
But I got the Chargers. I think they're a much better team. Oh, one thing I wanted to add. Did you see that the NFL had 3 games on Christmas Day and the NBA had like 5 or 6?
Mm-hmm.
And their total views didn't even add up to like the Packers-Dolphins game or the viewership of the Broncos.
Well, I think that
the
Packers-Dolphins game, I think I seen it got 24.6.
Yeah, about 25
million views, which I think a lot of things factor into that. I think that the game was at noon, so that's when a lot of things are going on. A lot of people are just flipping the TVs on.
Yeah,
I think that middle game is kind of when like
they still had 22 million people viewing that one.
Yeah, I just the NFL. There's so many games in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then it depends on what teams are playing. Like if the Bulls would have played on Christmas Day, you would have got a lot of views for that because of the Chicago area.
Yeah, but the NBA, I'm just saying, they haven't gotten close to like 20 million views on one game.
Yeah, well, and they're not because there's how many games are there? There's
82
games. There's only 17 NFL. Well, there's now 17 NFL games.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and they're only once a week.
Right. I mean, the NFL has always been
the superior
cream of the crop. I mean, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you get your other teams of other sports, like when you get the Cubs playing important games, or like you get the Bulls, you're going to have ratings go up because of how many people support that team. Like you can't have the like Washington Wizards or Charlotte Hornets playing. You're going to get no views. Like that's what I'm saying. I think the Bulls should be on every Christmas Day because of the market. If you want like tons of people, I would have watched. If I was home, I would have watched the Dolphins, and then on another TV, I would have had the Bulls.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, but it I really think it depends on the team.
Yeah,
and like the Knicks always get it.
Yeah, that's because of their market, not always because of their play.
Right.
Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Lamar out again.
Shitty Sunday Night Football game.
I'm taking Pittsburgh in this game. Yeah, some of the games I've picked differently this week because I'm trying to catch back up to Jake. So I took Pittsburgh in this one.
I mean, I'm going to take the Ravens because they're at home. I don't got much to say about this game. I mean, it shouldn't be on Sunday Night Football.
The Monday night game's really good.
Yeah, the Monday night
I agree with you.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have flexed the Packers Vikings game and put it down there. You could have even put Jacksonville and Houston. You could have put the Dolphins in New England. I don't
know about Jacksonville, Houston. That game doesn't even matter.
Well,
but I mean,
Jacksonville it does.
You could have put this one.
It doesn't matter to Jacksonville. Seattle.
It doesn't matter to Jacksonville because all that matters is if they beat Tennessee next week.
Yeah, but you want to win. Pride, I don't know.
Miami, New England.
Yeah, it's a big
meaningful game.
So I don't know. I got Baltimore. He's got Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Monday night's gonna be a fun game.
Yeah, Monday night we got Buffalo at Cincinnati. Buffalo on a 6-game win streak. Cincinnati on a 7-game win streak. Should be a high scoring game. You would think.
Yeah, I would think.
You would
have no idea. Game. Why wouldn't it? Which I think that's going to be Buffalo's backbreaker. But
you don't think they can score?
No. It's just that they don't really. I mean, the Dolphins. Every team's putting up 30 points on them, but they'll always outscore you. But if the one game you don't happens to be a playoff game and you lose, you're done.
Yeah, I
think Kansas City's got a better defense.
Kansas City.
Well, I'm just saying in the AFC, that's who they're going to have to beat. Ultimately, that's who's going to play, right? Or Kansas City and Cincinnati, like those 3 teams.
Probably, yeah.
Like what I'm saying is I think Kansas City out of the 3 I think Kansas City's defense is better than all 3 of them.
I think Kansas City has a good defense, but
I just don't
disagree.
Think Buffalo, I watched the Dolphins run for 175 yards on Buffalo. So that's what I mean. I think their defense is
I got Cincinnati in this game. Joe Mixon, I think he's going to have a good game. A lot of teams, like you said, can run the ball on Buffalo. And Joe Burrow seems to know how to play in big moments. And I'm not saying that Josh Allen doesn't.
No, but Josh Allen has lost a lot of big games as to where Joe Burrow has figured out how to win. I mean, obviously,
LSU
lost
got
the big
the
one,
Super Bowl.
Lost the big one, but he got there.
Yeah.
I mean, Allen hasn't got there. I mean, and all this talk of every year of Buffalo, this and that, like, it's either put up or shut up for them. I'm sick of those measly Buffalo fans that have no trophies in their Super Bowl case.
And it's actually important for each of these teams because I think, let's see, who's got the 1 seed right now? So the Bills have the 1 seed because they beat Kansas City. But if the Bills lose this game, then Kansas City will go to the 1 seed, and Cincinnati will take the 2 seed, and
so
Kansas
Buffalo
City will
would
go
be
to 3.
Right? If
No.
Kansas City goes to 1 and Buffalo's 12-4 and Cincinnati's 12-4, Buffalo would go all the way to 3.
Yeah, 3.
Which then they would play. Who's the
3 versus
who's the
6?
6? They would play the Chargers.
Yeah, and then 2 would play the Dolphins. So I mean, it's a very important game. A lot on the line.
Well, the 1 seed's on the line.
Yeah,
because Kansas City's probably going to win handily.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to not.
And then next week they play Vegas, and that's a very winnable game.
That's what I mean. They've got, and then who do the Bills play the next week?
I don't know. Let me look here.
Go to week 18. New England. So, I mean, you got a divisional. I mean, it's easier. Kansas City's path is easier than Buffalo's, right? I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, the two teams. I mean, Bill Belichick and New England's went into Buffalo and won before with no chance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I could definitely see Buffalo falling to the 3 seed.
I just really think Joe Burrow knows how to win big games, and I think he's going to pull it out.
Yeah, I got Cincinnati. I think
it'll be a great game.
Yeah,
it'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
No question. Last thing we're going to talk about today is Tua's future. I know this has been the talk of sports shows on television for the past, few days, especially since the report came out.
Where's all the reports on Kenny Pickett? I mean, he's had 3 concussions, and you hear nothing of it. I don't know why
this year.
Yeah, don't know why nobody's talking about it. Like, it's always Tua. I don't know why. I don't know why people want him to fail. I don't know why the league wants him to fail. I don't know why the media wants him to fail.
I don't think anybody wants him to fail, but I think they're questioning whether or not it makes sense to play again this year. I'm not saying I would. If another concussion happens down the road, I don't know about continuing my NFL career.
Well, there's one guy from I don't know if he's on the Bills or who he is, but he's had 6 concussions. And an NFL doctor came out and said, like, they cleared him to play. Like, it ultimately is going to come down to if Tua wants to play. Tua is going to get cleared by a doctor.
Probably not this week.
And no, but I mean, even next year. Even if we're talking week 1 next year, Tua's going to get cleared, and it's ultimately going to be up to him.
In his family. I feel like
at the
end of the day, yes, it's his decision.
It's his decision. I mean, your parents can say what they want, but you can ultimately make your own decision. And that's what I think Tua will make and play.
And then it's going to come down to this. If you're Miami, do you offer him an extension with how many concussions he's had, how small he is?
He's not you're right. It's not. He's shown to be. He can play with the best, but he's not durable. He's not meant to last.
Like, I don't think he's worth. I don't think he's worth.
Somebody said like
a year.
It's how important is it the Dolphins spent like that much money to get a decent backup? Like, Teddy Bridgewater's obviously played. He knows the league. He's the quarterback. Like, he's been in there for a while. Like, you don't just have some Joe Schmo you're throwing in there.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, do the Dolphins want to keep playing that route where they have Tua, but then they have a really good backup?
I don't think you can do that forever. I think you'd be better off maybe moving on from Tua once his rookie contract. I'd probably pick up his 5th-year option, but I don't think I'd offer him an extension.
Like, I mean,
he hasn't been able to make it through a full year.
Here we go. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Dolphins are 8-3. They're talking to maybe about the Dolphins getting the 1 seed, and Tua's in the MVP conversations, and now this. Like obviously it was 8-3. That's 11 games. That's not a small. That's a decent sample size. I mean, and you go back to his record even before this year. He's always had a winning record, but
he was playing good in that Green Bay game up until the fourth quarter.
He wasn't putting the ball in harm's way. He was just kind of getting it out to guys and letting them make plays. I mean, and the ball to Tyreek Hill was beautifully thrown.
And he's a competitor, and I know that he's going to want to play next week, the following week, and if they get into the playoffs, and so on and so forth. I just think
there's too many. Go ahead.
I just think it's important to think about your mental health and the different things that CTE can do. And we've seen happen over the years with other NFL players. I know we went and saw the movie with Will Smith about the CTE. It was a good movie. And we've seen some of the I'm not saying that Antonio Brown has CTE. I don't think anybody can confirm that. But his concussions and the things that he's has done, I just think it might be important for you to focus on protecting your brain, because you only get one of them. And it not only concussions, like he's had 3 this year, 2 of them for sure.
Yeah, 2 for sure.
And even if you're not getting a concussion, you're still getting your head banged in, and the brain has nowhere. It just, you know what I mean? It's not locked in there. It just goes back and forth.
When Tua gets tackled, he's a floppy fish because he's small. So, of course, he's going to bang off the ground. But there's too many Twitter doctors out there, Facebook doctors. Let's hear from Tua, and let's hear from people who actually do this for a living, because an NFL doctor said on Twitter that Tua is going to get cleared, and he's probably going to come back and play because he's going to want to. But we still need to hear from Tua on how he feels on this. That's what I think, right? We haven't heard Tua talk about since he is in concussion protocol again. I mean, he talked after the game. He seemed fine, but like Larry Zonka said, it was one of the best Dolphins players ever. He goes, I probably had 25 concussions in my career. So, but what I mean is that was back then. This is now. They didn't have technology. They do now. I get all that. But what I'm saying is, it's going to be his decision, because I think he will get cleared.
Yeah.
There are people that have had more than 2 concussions. There's people that have had more than 3, 4. I mean, there's, like I just said, there's this guy I think he's on the Bills.
But it's like in one season.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I think there's a rule where if you have so many in one season, you gotta at least sit out the rest of the year. Well, here's the thing, right? Let's say he gets cleared and he plays this week, and he gets another concussion in this week's game.
Well, it would just it'd be a bad
then he's definitely done. The Dolphins, they've been getting questioned all year, and it'll be a bad look. And then you really got to think. There's no reason you should have 4 head injuries.
No.
In an 18-week span.
Well, that's why did they just switch to concussion protocol 6 weeks ago? Like right now, concussions have been happening for years. We've had this technology for years. So it took Tua almost dying when he was paralyzed for that 5 seconds in the middle of the Bengals field when his fingers did all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why it takes all that to now implement all this. So that's what I'm saying. If he goes through the protocol, which is 7 steps, and he's cleared to play, I mean, it's gonna be up to him.
Yeah, and as a competitor, I'm sure he'll want to play. So I'm sure that he will play. I'm just saying, I don't know that it's the best option.
No, it's probably
as far
not.
as health.
I mean,
and like I said, I personally don't think the Dolphins are going to extend him.
I don't know unless
I wouldn't. I think it's a big gamble. It's like what teams are going. I don't know. It's a big gamble.
Out of left field, I would throw Lamar Jackson whatever he wants. I would give him the biggest contract in NFL history to get him to come to Miami. Look, I know he's dealt with some health problems, but the Baltimore Ravens are in the playoffs every year under him. He's one of the most dual threat quarterbacks ever. Putting him with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and what he can do running the ball.
That'd be an electric.
I'm just saying, I would throw the kitchen table at him. I would ask him what he wants, and I'd give it to him. If you don't think Tua is that guy, obviously Tua was 8-3. He beat Lamar. He went point for point with Lamar and won. Now he was given the weapons to do that.
Yeah.
But he can do it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. And like you said, I didn't even think about that. But getting Lamar, that's you wouldn't even want somebody to be that team in Madden because Tyreek and Jalen would be faster than everybody, and
well,
then you'd be able to run around with Lamar.
And that's the thing. Teams Tua can't do that.
Yeah.
So they would be so much harder of an offense to game plan for.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know because if the play's not there, well, Lamar's just going to run for 25 yards.
Yeah.
And the thing about Lamar is he knows how to get out of bounds. He knows how to go down. Tua still wants to fight for yards, and it's hard to take that out of a player.
Mm-hmm.
You like that. But he's not – he needs to learn to go down.
Yeah.
But
the past 2 concussions haven't been because of him not going down. Like the one in the Packers game, if that's the hit, I'm sure you've seen the video.
It was a normal. Yeah. It was just a normal everyday
tackle. He fell
tackle.
down and his head went off the ground, right? But in the Cincinnati game, again, there's not really much he could do there. He's trying to extend the play, which I guess sometimes you could just throw it away. But it wasn't his fault that he got, grabbed and thrown down. So
it's very unfortunate for Tua
because he was having a really good year.
You don't wish this upon anybody,
mm-hmm.
and you do hope he gets the right advice, and you do hope he ultimately makes the right decision. And if the right decision that he wants to do is play football, then he's doing what he likes to do.
Yeah.
But he's also every NFL player is putting their health at risk.
Yeah.
It's not just Tua.
Yeah, that going.
Now Tua is a different circumstance because of what he's had.
Yeah.
But you just hope he gets the right advice and makes the right decision. And if that's playing, and he's playing in a Dolphin uniform, I support whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know that. We've had Jay Cutler, we've had Matt Moore, we've had Chad Pennington, Ryan Tannehill.
The list goes on.
I like the Dolphins, and I support who is on the team and who's the quarterback.
Yep.
So if that's Tua, then that's Tua next year. And the Dolphins would be a dangerous team with Tua. I mean, they were this year.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. That's all we got for this week. Everybody have a good New Year. Jake, you got anything to add?
ILL.
Everybody have a good